everybody, Morgan with an Answer here, and today I have a holiday project for you. These are Christmas package topiaries, and they come together super quickly but have a large and beautiful impact in a space. So follow along and I'll show you how to make these. The first thing we need to do is build a stand for all of our packages to sit on, and I'm using this 3/4 inch piece of plywood that's cut to a 12-inch square, and if you don't want to cut this yourself, you could always ask your hardware store and see if they'll cut it for you. Once I've got that primed and painted, I'm going to find the center point on that square and then lay my floor flange right on top of that and mark where all those 4 holes are. Once I've got that, I'm going to pre-drill some holes so that my screws will go directly into my plywood without ripping it up. I'll then realign that flange on top of the holes, and then using some fender washers and some screws, I'll use those to attach the flange to the piece of plywood. You can check out the description box below for a complete list of all the supplies I'm using in this project. With the base completed, I'm now going to add my PVC pipe to this, and this is going to be the backbone of all my packages. So this is a 1/2 inch piece of PVC pipe that's 5 foot long, and I'll just slip that directly into that floor flange that's in our base. So no glue is required, but that friction fit will be enough to hold everything in place. Let's talk packages. Now I've got 4 moving boxes here in progressively smaller sizes, and I went out and purchased my moving boxes because I want to make a pair of these topiaries and I want them to be identical to each other. But if you were just going to make one of these, you could absolutely go through your recycle bin and reuse boxes you already have, and that would work great. I'm going to use a little bit of packaging tape here and get all of my boxes folded up and assembled, and then we'll be ready for some wrapping paper. I'm using 4 different rolls of wrapping paper in coordinating colors of red, lime, and green, and I've got some that have more striped and plaid, and then I have some that have polka dots and are round, and I'm going to mix these back and forth to give me a really pleasing aesthetic. Now I'm decided to go with this lime and red look, but you could absolutely change up the paper and give you a totally different look to this topiary. Black and gold or red and gold would be really beautiful, or you could even go with a modern aesthetic that's more neutrals and pastels. Those would all look really beautiful and give you completely different looks with only the minor change of some different wrapping paper. Wrapping gifts is one of my favorite things to do during the holidays, so I cranked up my Christmas music and got to work getting all these packages wrapped to perfection. Now that these are all looking really festive, it's time to prepare them to be put on the stand. Now this bottom box I want to sit square on the ground, but these top 3 I want to put on an angle so that they'll stand on the corners of the packages, and that's going to give them a lot more height and interest in this topiary. And to make that possible, we need to cut holes in the corners of these top 3 boxes and the center of this large box. So on the base box, I'm just going to find the center point and make a square to cut out with my box knife, a 1-inch square right out of that center. Now on the bottom part of this box, the part that will be against the floor or the base, I'm going to cut a larger square so that it'll fit around our floor flange, which you'll see in a moment here. But the top hole, I only want it to be about 1 inch in size so it's easy to hide. The top 3 boxes, I'm going to be cutting the corners off. So I'm going to take my box cutter one more time and cut at an angle across one corner, and then cut out the opposite corner on that cube so that when we put the pipe through it, it'll be able to go through opposite corners and it'll give us a really nice symmetrical look through the box. So I'm going to go ahead and cut 2 corners off of my middle 2 boxes, and then for the topmost box, you could always cut 1 corner if you don't want to put any bow on top, but for me, I'm going to be putting a bow and I want to make sure I can get that attached on the inside of the box, so I'm cutting 2 corners off of that smallest box. So we're going to start with our big one and put it right down over the top of our pipe, and then that large square we cut out of the bottom of the box will go right over that flange. And then we're just going to go ahead and put all the boxes on, making sure we get the pipe through the top and the bottom hole, and this is going to go together really seamlessly. Now my corner cuts were really clean, so I'm not worried about trying to hide the seams between boxes, but if for some reason your paper ripped, you could always hide those joints with a little bit of ribbon. As a final touch to my topiary, I'm going to put a really large bow on the top of it, and I'll be using this wire-edged wide ribbon as well as a pipe cleaner and a pair of scissors to make that bow. To start off, I'm going to take my ribbon and give myself a little bit of tail and then start making the loops. So I'm going to make these large loops that are about 6 inches long, looped over, and then I'm going to make sure I hold that really tightly in the center. That's the key to making a good bow. So I've got that one loop held on one side. I'm going to make a matching loop on the other side. I'm going to bring those up just to make sure they match, and then I'm going to weave this back and forth, folding it over and making sure I'm pinching really tightly in the center until I've got 8 loops on each side. So most of those are going to be really large loops that are the 6 inches, but my center 2 loops on each side are going to be a little smaller, and that's just going to give me a little definition to that bow. And then to finish that off, I'll make one large loop in the center that will go over the top of my thumb. And then once I have all of my loops in place and I've counted them, I'll cut off a nice long tail for my bow, and then right where my thumb is, I'm going to insert that pipe cleaner over the top, bring it around the back, and really tightly twist it together. And that's going to hold the center of my bow in place. And then I'll just spread out all the loops around and fluff it up until I'm happy with the look of the bow. I'm going to bring that over to my topiary, and with the pipe cleaner on the back, I'm going to stick those pipe cleaners down into the inside of the box and tape those in place just with a little bit of clear packaging tape. Now you could also secure this by taping the tails directly to the top of the box as well. So I'm going to do a little bit of fluffing here, and then to give this a little bit more dimension, I'm going to take about 2 yards worth of ribbon and wrap it around the top of my bow, twisting that in place to help hold it together. And I'm going to do it one more time, and that's going to give me 4 nice drapey bits of ribbon. I'm going to go ahead and curl my ribbon around my arm just like a curling iron, and this is going to give the ribbon a lot of body and texture and really give this a finished look. I hope you were inspired by today's project and give these topiaries a try in your holiday decorating. If you enjoyed today's video, I would love to have you join my creative community by hitting subscribe below so that you don't miss any future videos as I make all kinds of event decorations, party setups, and balloon tutorials. You can check out some of my other videos over here. Until then, and always remember, stay creative. Bye!